When I found out my girlfriend, who'd always pretended to be broke, was actually a millionaire heiress, I didn't blow up and dump her. Instead, I started treating her better than ever. She could play poor to mess with my head, and I could play the devoted boyfriend to fleece a rich girl. When I saw my broke girlfriend, Sophia Reed, in the grand ballroom of a five-star hotel on Miami Beach, she was wearing a couture gown, the center of a glittering crowd, soaking in their praise like the moon soaking in the night sky. She was dazzling. I was just there to drop off a file for my boss, standing quietly in a corner of the ballroom. Sophia never even saw me. "Hey boss, who's that?" I turned my body slightly, terrified she'd spot me, and casually asked the question. My boss glanced over, then answered dismissively, revealing Sophia's true identity. "That girl? She's a big deal. She's the only daughter of the richest guy in Miami. Named Sophia Reed." The name matched, but the identity was a universe away from the girl I knew. My girlfriend had told me she was from a small town in the Rust Belt, that her parents were just ordinary working-class people. Now, I knew it was all a lie, from start to finish. I refused to believe the magnetic young woman holding court in that ballroom was a different person from my girlfriend. She was definitely the same Sophia I'd been dating for 3 years. She lived this glamorous life by day, and then, for some unknown reason, went back to our cheap apartment at night to play dress-up as a poor girl. I didn't expose her. I handed the file to my boss and quietly slipped out of the ballroom. I took an Uber to the bayfront and stood there for 2 hours, letting the biting wind whip against my face before finally heading home. By the time I walked into our apartment, the dark cloud on my face was gone, replaced by a cold, hard sense of calculation. I pulled out all the gifts Sophia had ever given me. A pile of junk, nothing over $20. Then I thought about the gifts I'd given her, items that regularly cost hundreds, sometimes thousands. Unbelievable. This woman, Sophia Reed, a high society princess, slumming it to fleece some poor 9-to-5er. Oh, and my debit card? It was still in her wallet. My God, scammed for my money and my feelings by a millionaire's daughter. Who would even believe that story? I quietly put the cheap gifts away. My mind was racing. After a few minutes of furious calculation, my desire for revenge solidified. Sophia never stayed out all night. She was always home by 10 p.m. at the latest. Tonight, she called to say she had a work dinner and would be back around 9. To confirm she was still playing her part, I staked out a spot across the street from our apartment building. Sure enough, I saw exactly what I expected. A black luxury sedan pulled into the alley beside a corner store. Sophia, still in her couture gown, stepped out gracefully and slipped into the store side door. When she emerged a few minutes later, she was wearing the simple outfit I'd bought her from a department store. She was my broke girlfriend again. So the stakeout paid off. I'd found Sophia's little transformation station. No wonder she was always running to this specific corner store. It was her changing room. After Sophia entered our building, I walked into the store. The first floor was a typical convenience store, but the upper 2 floors seemed unused. Now I realized they must be her private space, the place where she shed her rich girl skin. Bokuma. The clerk was a young woman. She smiled the second I walked in. Her eyes darted around, but they kept landing on me. That's when it clicked. This woman was definitely in on it with Sophia. She knew we lived together, knew our whole story. It explained the weird looks she'd always given me. "Do you guys have any Pedialyte?" I was a familiar face here, so I acted natural, giving her my excuse. "My wife has a work dinner tonight. I need to make her a hangover cure for the morning." We weren't married, but we'd lived together for years. Calling her my wife wasn't a stretch. "Yeah, it's over there," the clerk said, pointing to an aisle before adding with a smile, "You're so good to your wife." Good? Huh. I laughed coldly to myself. Of course I had to be good to Sophia. How else was I going to reel her in and get my money's worth? This store was obviously connected to her. I needed this clerk to report back to Sophia to make her think I was completely, deeply in love. I bought the Pedialyte and a few other things, then went back to the apartment. I went straight to the kitchen and started making a late-night snack for her, a big, greasy bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich. "Leo, you're the best," Sophia murmured after she got home. She drank the hangover cure and was now melting under my massage, her face a mask of pure happiness. She buried her head in my chest, nuzzling me. For a rich girl like her to pretend to be poor and date a regular guy like me, I figured she must be craving something real. The world of the rich is all about greed and ambition. Even family members will stab you in the back for money and power. Soph, how about you start calling me your husband from now on? She'd always call me Leo. I wanted her to change it, to make our relationship feel even closer, more permanent. Husband, she whispered obediently, her voice soft and sweet. Truthfully, Sophia had only had a little to drink tonight. She was barely tipsy. We cuddled for a while before she got up to take a shower. Seizing the opportunity, I grabbed her phone. I knew the passcode, but in the 3 years we'd been together, out of principle and trust, I had never once looked through it. This was the first time, and what I found was a bombshell. In a group chat with her best friends, I found the real reason she was pretending to be poor and dating me. It turned out Sophia used to be in love with her childhood sweetheart, a guy she was practically engaged to. But then he fell for a working-class girl and started seeing her on the sly. Word eventually got back to Sophia. She texted him, demanding an explanation. His reply was casual, dismissive. He said he was just playing a dating game. The whole point of the game was to date a normal person. The whole thing infuriated Sophia. In a fit of anger, she decided she would play the same ridiculous game. And she quickly found her own normal person to date. Needless to say, that unlucky schmuck was me. After I finished reading, I put the phone back exactly where I found it, pretending I hadn't seen a thing. Fantastic. And here I was thinking this heiress was after genuine human connection. Turns out, she was just throwing a tantrum over her ex and playing a twisted game. And me? I was just a lucky son of a bitch who got cast as the NPC in her little romance simulation. That night, I unleashed all my humiliation and rage on Sophia. Wow, honey, you're amazing tonight, she gasped afterward. I had given it everything I had, channeling all my resentment for being played into pure physical force. It was a strange, satisfying release. Sophia, on the other hand, was completely content, thinking my performance was a sign of overwhelming passion. Hiss! Afterward, as the adrenaline faded, I winced. This kind of revenge didn't feel like it had any real impact. All it did was leave her incredibly satisfied. But in any case, making Sophia believe I was madly in love with her was a crucial part of my plan. From that day on, I became the perfect boyfriend. I doted on her, took care of her every need, and we were intimate at least 3 times a night. Sophia became even clingier, coming home from her job earlier and earlier each day. One afternoon, I was leaving my office building when a guy with bleach blonde hair blocked my path. "You're Leo Carter," he said, his voice dripping with condescension as he looked me up and down. I recognized him instantly. Caleb Vance, Sophia's childhood sweetheart. I'd seen his picture in Sophia's WhatsApp chats. "Who are you?" I asked, playing dumb and raising an eyebrow. He sneered, then dropped a cryptic line. "You don't need to know who I am. Just be at the Regent Grand tonight. I'm going to show you the truth about something." With that, he spun around, jumped into a sports car, and peeled out. Sophia's ex showing up could only mean trouble. Sophia had already told me she was meeting some colleagues for dinner tonight. I figured she'd probably be at the Regent Grand, too. This guy, Caleb, was probably calling me there to finally drop the bomb on me, to reveal that I was just an NPC in their little game. "Please," I scoffed, completely unimpressed. I'd seen the raw hostility in his eyes. Whatever my enemy wants me to do, I do the opposite. I went home, ate dinner, and then plopped down on the couch to scroll through TikTok, waiting for my shape-shifting girlfriend to come home. And as it turned out, I was right about his plan. Right now, in a penthouse suite at the Regent Grand, a crowd of Miami's trust fund kids were gathered for Caleb Vance's birthday party. Sophia was there, along with her best friends, Chloe and Maya. "Sophia, I love your gift. Can you put on for me?" From a mountain of presents, Caleb expertly singled out the box from Sophia. He opened it, took out a fine watch, and looked at her with burning intensity, hoping she'd put it on his wrist personally. His eyes scanned the room, finally landing on a waiter wearing a face mask. A flicker of mockery crossed his face. He looked back at Sophia and added with a laugh, "This has to be this year's new limited edition, right? Must be worth at least $500,000. I had people looking everywhere for it, couldn't find it. I can't believe you got one." Sophia's brow furrowed slightly. She seemed to sense something was off. She opened her mouth to speak, but then thought better of it. She didn't know that Caleb had already contacted me. His little speech was for my benefit. He thought I was the waiter in the mask, and he was trying to make me angry. But Caleb was destined for disappointment, because I wasn't there. What Caleb also didn't know was that Sophia's assistant had bought his gift this year. It wasn't a limited edition. It was a nice watch, but it only cost a few $1,000s, a pittance compared to the multi-$100,000 gift Sophia used to personally pick out for him. For the past 2 years, Caleb had always brought his working-class girlfriend to his birthday parties, parading her around and treating her like a princess. After that started, Sophia stopped buying him expensive gifts. As for his small request, it was a simple enough gesture. Sophia didn't refuse and casually fastened the watch around his wrist. "Sophia, your gift. I'll treasure it," Caleb said, lifting his wrist to show off the watch, his tone thick with insinuation. Tonight, not only was his normal girl of the moment absent, but he was stuck to Sophia's side like glue, trying his best to look intimate with her. Chloe, sitting on Sophia's other side, couldn't resist a jab. Well, what happened this year? Didn't bring your little charity case with you." Rumor was Caleb and the girl had broken up. Chloe vividly remembered how, 2 years ago, Sophia had come to this party only to be infuriated by the way Caleb doted on that girl. Now that they were done and he was sucking up to Sophia again, Chloe wasn't going to miss a chance to twist the knife. "That was just for fun," Caleb said, unbothered by her taunt. His eyes were locked on Sophia as he desperately tried to explain himself. "The person I've always loved is you, Sophia. You have to believe me," he pleaded, giving her what he imagined was a look of profound love. Caleb was certain that with over 20 years of history between them, all it would take were a few sweet words and Sophia would melt, dump her broke boyfriend, and come running back to him. Sophia said nothing, but Chloe had heard enough. "Ugh," she groaned dramatically, making a face like she was about to be sick. Caleb ignored her and turned his attention back to the waiter in the mask. He found a moment to corner the guy, a triumphant smirk on his face. "See that?" he began. "The person Sophia loves has always been me. She's only with you to make me jealous. If you know what's good for you, you'll get out of her life. By the way, the gifts she gives you, they're probably all cheap crap, right? 20, 30 bucks. Not like me. Every year for my birthday, Sophia gets me a limited edition gift worth hundreds of thousands." He proudly held up his wrist, showing off the limited edition watch Sophia had just given him. He didn't realize something was wrong until the waiter responded with a completely baffled look. "Excuse me, Mr. Vance? Did you need another drink? What the You're not him." Realizing his mistake from the waiter's tone, Caleb reached out and yanked off the man's mask, revealing a face that was definitely not mine. "Shit, it's not him. Where is he? He got the wrong guy." Caleb swore under his breath, frantically looking around, but I was nowhere to be seen. Did that loser just ignore me and not show up? The possibility finally dawned on him, and his face turned even uglier. He had orchestrated this entire drama tonight, hoping to force me to leave Sophia. But the main audience member hadn't even shown up. The whole performance was a waste. Tonight, Sophia came home earlier than she usually did after one of her events. When she got to our apartment, she first drank the hangover cure I'd made, then showered and climbed into bed, snuggling into my arms. She pulled a sleek, expensive-looking gift box from behind her back. "For you, husband." The box looked high-end. I opened it. Inside lay a watch with a striking green face. Seriously? A green watch? Was this some kind of hint? The thought flashed through my mind. But Sophia quickly explained, "It's a watch the company gave out as a bonus. It's a replica, a super clone. They say even expert watchmakers can't tell the difference. You can wear it like it's the real thing, but you have to take care of it. Don't lose it, and don't you dare give it away," she said, fastening it on my wrist herself, her tone gravely serious. Her entire focus was on me treasuring this supposed fake, repeatedly warning me not to lose it. If it were really just a replica, Sophia wouldn't be making such a big deal. There was only one possibility. This so-called replica was, in fact, the genuine article. I immediately caught on. "Don't worry, babe," I said, my face a mask of sincerity. "Whatever you give me is the most precious thing in the world to me. I swear I won't even lose a single screw from this watch." My performance was Oscar-worthy. Seeing how serious I was, Sophia nodded in satisfaction, seemingly reassured. That night, we went another 3 rounds. What can I say? I had a beautiful, leggy, well-endowed millionaire heiress lying next to me. Who could possibly resist? I had to seize the opportunity to work her over as hard and as thoroughly as I could. I didn't want to have any regrets when this was all over. Of course, I didn't take my promise to Sophia seriously at all. The very next morning, I took a trip to a high-end watch dealer. The watchmaker confirmed it. The green watch Sophia had given me wasn't fake. It was a genuine, extremely rare, global limited edition Rolex. Retail price, over $500,000. $500,000. The price tag stunned me. I guess Sophia did have a conscience after all. I immediately listed the watch online and sold it for a 20% discount. A cool $400,000 in my pocket. Yes, no wonder everyone wants to cozy up to the rich. Fleecing an heiress felt damn good. In my eyes, Sophia was no longer a person. She was a golden goose. Oh crap, I think I was starting to actually like her. Afterward, I spent a couple $100 on a top-tier replica and carefully placed it back in the original gift box. Sophia gave me a replica, and I was keeping a replica. When we eventually break up, this fake watch will be returned to its rightful owner. I would never take advantage of the rich girl. I swear. Okay, forget everything I just said. I was absolutely going to fleece this heiress for everything she was worth. It was the least I deserved after playing the role of lovesick NPC for 3 years. At work, my direct supervisor was a woman in her late 30s. She had less education and less skill than me, but she was a master of office politics. Not only was she the boss's pet, but she also loved taking credit for my work. On a whim, I mentioned to Sophia that this woman was always trying to hit on me and that she had a reputation for being involved with several men at the office. Everything I said was, for the record, completely true. The next day, she was fired. The official reason was unprofessional conduct. Her affairs with a senior executive and several other male employees had been completely exposed. Just like that, I was promoted to her position. I knew perfectly well that Sophia had pulled the strings. Back at our apartment, I feigned ignorance and offered her some praise. I don't know which genius in management finally did it, but they investigated that woman. It's about time. Good riddance. Seeing the corner of her mouth twitch upward into a smirk, I knew she was secretly gloating. I then changed the subject, dropping a hint for her. Soph, you have no idea. That woman was seriously sleeping with 4 or 5 different guys. It's so messy and disgusting. Doesn't she worry about catching something? I was worried Sophia might be fooling around behind my back too, but even though she was manipulative, I had a feeling she wouldn't. I could just tell. Besides, a person only has so much energy. I was tilling the fields so diligently every single day, keeping her completely satisfied. What time or energy would she have to cheat? That night, I doubled my field tilling time and introduced some new techniques. My motto was, if it doesn't kill you, push it to the limit. By the end, Sophia was a boneless wreck on the bed, begging for mercy while calling me a pervert. I knew what was really going on. The more she complained, the more she secretly loved it. Women are all like that. It's like when they call their husbands a jerk while melting with sweetness. The next day, an unwelcome guest showed up again. That blonde guy, Caleb, cornered me in my office again. You didn't go to the Regent Grand the other night? He demanded the second he saw me. Why would I? My one-line response left him speechless. It took him a moment to recover. Tisk TSK. So pathetic. Leo, you're still completely in the dark, aren't you? He was beating around the bush, so I cut him off. Spit it out. Stop wasting my time. My bluntness threw him off again. After a pause, he dropped his bombshell. You know you've been scammed, right? Sophia is my fiancée. She's just playing a dating game with you. And you? You're just an NPC in that game. He looked so proud of himself after saying it. But to me, it was just the pathetic whining of a loser. If he had any confidence at all in his relationship with Sophia, he wouldn't be here trying to intimidate me. Psycho. I muttered, not wanting to waste another breath on him. I tried to walk around him, but Caleb wasn't going to let me go that easily. That night, he somehow got my number and sent me a friend request on WhatsApp. I didn't recognize the name, so I accepted it without thinking. Immediately, my phone started blowing up with pictures of him and Sophia. From their childhood playdates to their awkward middle school years, than high school and college. They were always together, side by side, in every photo. After the photo dump, he sent a message. Believe me now, Sophia and I grew up together. Our parents both want us to be together. It's a done deal. She's just throwing a tantrum. That's the only reason she's with a loser like you. You're not good enough for her. The man she marries will be me, and only me. I scoffed after reading his texts. I had no intention of marrying Sophia anyway. Who she married in the end was none of my business. My response to Caleb's so-called truth was simple and brutal. They're Photoshopped. I typed it, sent it, and then immediately blocked him. Smooth and efficient. On the other end, seeing my response, Caleb frowned, muttering to himself with confidence. Still doesn't believe it. He's a stubborn one. Fine, I'll send him a video. He was sure a video would make me finally admit defeat. But when he hit send, an infuriating red exclamation mark popped up. Shit, you actually blocked me? Caleb truly hadn't expected to be blocked so decisively. He slammed his phone down on a table, his face a mask of contempt. What kind of trash did Sophia even pick up? So stubborn, so dense. He seethed, trembling with rage. Perhaps influenced by Caleb's antics, Sophia seemed to sense something was up. That night, after an intense session, she lay in my arms and cautiously brought up her deception. Honey, what if? And I'm just saying, what if? What if one day you found out I'm not who you think I am? Or that I've lied to you? Could you forgive me? My ears perked up. Was this it? The big reveal? After she came clean, was she going to hand me a $10 million check and tell me to get lost, just like in the movies? My mind started running the numbers, but my mouth delivered a perfect, heartfelt line. If I'm being deceived by you, then I'm happy to be deceived. As long as it's not cheating, I'll forgive you for anything. Yes. As I said the words, I was practically cackling inside. I had to make Sophia believe I was head over heels in love with her. That way, when we finally broke up, she'd give me a much bigger severance package. Oh, honey, you're so good to me. I love you so much. My sweet talk worked like a charm. Sophia beamed, her eyes curving in a crescent as she hugged my arm even tighter. Sophia, it's all my fault, I said one day, unable to resist pushing my luck. I haven't been able to buy us a real home. You've had to put up with this cramped little apartment with me. I had secretly looked it up. Even this old, run-down place we were renting was worth at least a couple $100,000. And the owner's name on the deed? Sophia Reed. Basically, the rent I paid her every month went right back in her own pocket. I was just testing the waters with my comment. But the very next morning, Sophia excitedly dragged me down to the county records office. Honey, this woman owns a condo at the Azure Point condominiums. She's moving out of the country for good and needs to sell it cheap. I did the math, and the money we've saved up is just enough to buy it. I've already seen the place. It's amazing. Just sign the contract, and the place is ours. Listening to her, I knew exactly what was going on. Our combined savings were maybe $50,000. A condo at Azure Point, overlooking the bay, started at $1 million easy. This whole story about someone moving abroad and selling cheap was full of holes. This condo was definitely hers to begin with. And this so-called owner, just an actress she'd hired. Of course, only an idiot would call her out on it. That's fantastic, I exclaimed, putting on my best overjoyed expression. I took the pen and signed my name with a flourish. After I was done, I handed the pen to Sophia, telling her to add her name, but she just smiled and waved it away. Just your name is fine. I don't need to sign. I trust you, honey. I know you'd never kick me out. Her words dripped with unconditional trust. Yeah, right? Sophia probably owned dozens, if not hundreds, of properties. A single condo worth a couple million was nothing to her. She was the one who refused to sign, not me. And just like that, I guiltlessly accepted a new condo. When I thought about it, taking a condo from Sophia wasn't really a big deal. I was dating a millionaire's daughter. So what if she gave me a place to live? It was perfectly normal. That afternoon, we moved out of the old, cramped apartment and into a spacious, light-filled condo with a view of the bay. After we'd unpacked, I pointed to 2 empty bedrooms, my face full of hope as I painted a picture of our future. These 2 rooms will be for our babies. The first one can have the room on the left, and the second can have the one on the right. To really sell it, I added, and hey, Sophia, You're always saying your family, the Reeds, is getting smaller, right? When we have our kids, they can both take your last name. I don't mind at all. Whether we'd actually get married was another question entirely, but it cost me nothing to make big promises. Okay. Sophia was completely charmed. Her face lit up with a smile. She squeezed my arm, and in her excitement, she let something slip. If they both have my last name, it'll be easier for them to inherit the Reed family fortune. The moment the words were out, she realized her mistake. She quickly tried to change the subject, shaking my arm. Honey, I'm a little hungry. Can you make me something to eat? She may have said it without thinking, but I heard it loud and clear. Inherit the Reed family fortune. The phrase sent a jolt through me. The Reeds were the wealthiest family in Miami. Their company was worth tens of billions of dollars. If my kids could actually inherit that, that was a scenario I couldn't even begin to imagine. Honestly, I wasn't that ambitious. I just wanted to fleece Sophia for a bit of cash, partly to make up for the 3 years I'd been deceived, and partly to set myself up for a comfortable future. If that made me a gold digger, so be it. I've never been one for pride. If an opportunity comes along, you can bet I'm going to climb that ladder. Because as much as I value my dignity, I'm much more afraid of having an empty wallet. Life was going great, but there are always people who want to stir up trouble. One day, my boss suddenly insisted I accompany him to a meeting at the headquarters of Reed Industries. I wanted nothing to do with it. Sophia worked in that building. If we ran into each other there, this whole dating game would be over. But my boss insisted, and I couldn't get out of it. To make matters worse, Caleb Vance was there too. The second I saw his face, I knew this was going to be bad. Mr. Davis, you go on ahead. I need to have a private word with him, Caleb said, walking up and dismissing my boss with a few words. You again. I continued to play dumb, scowling with exaggerated annoyance. Caleb smirked. Don't worry. Today, I'm finally going to drill some sense into that thick skull of yours. He reached out to grab my arm. I had no desire to get into a physical altercation with him, but the guy was unbelievably persistent. As we were struggling, a familiar figure appeared down the hall. Sophia, dressed in an impeccably tailored power suit, was leading a group of executives. She was at the front, the undeniable center of attention, walking with an air of absolute authority. From a distance, she radiated power. She looked like a CEO, a queen who wouldn't take no for an answer. This was the real Sophia Reed, the sole heir to the Reed Industries empire. She didn't notice us. Her group swept past and into a conference room. You see that? Sophia is the heir to this entire company. You and her, you're not even in the same universe. Caleb said, turning back to me with a condescending glare. My response was the same as always. Bullshit. That woman just looks like my girlfriend. No matter what Caleb said, I had one strategy: deny everything. As long as Sophia didn't admit it herself, I could keep this act going forever. You're hopeless. Caleb seethed, grinding his teeth. The look he gave me was pure, undisguised mockery, as if to say, how can anyone on earth be this stupid? My act had worked. I still hadn't believed that I was an NPC in his game, but Caleb wasn't giving up. He pulled some strings and managed to get me and Sophia into the same private room at an upscale karaoke lounge. Now, hey, over here. The moment I walked in, I heard Caleb's triumphant voice. I looked over and saw a couch full of familiar faces. My boss, Caleb, Sophia, and her friends, Chloe and Maya. I met Chloe and Maya a few times before. They claimed to be Sophia's co-workers, but they were all just a bunch of spoiled rich girls. Now, what are you doing here? Sophia exclaimed, her face a picture of surprise. She was wearing a lavish dress, her earrings sparkling under the lights. Her makeup was flawless. She looked like a completely different person from my down-to-earth girlfriend. But the face was unmistakably hers. I knew this was Caleb's doing. It seemed today's showdown was unavoidable. Resigned, I steeled myself and walked into the room. I went straight to Sophia's side and sat down, deliberately squeezing Caleb out of the way. Babe, don't drink too much tonight. It's bad for you, I said, my voice full of affection. Sophia's expression softened. She immediately nodded. Okay, I'll listen to you. I'll take it easy. Chloe, sitting nearby, immediately started teasing. Well, look at you two. Not even married yet, and he's already telling you what to do. Caleb, seeing the conversation veering off track, quickly cut in. Sophia, you guys need to stop fooling Leo. This game is over. If you keep this up, I'm actually going to get angry. Chloe immediately shot back. So, get angry. What's it to us? You. Caleb was speechless. He quickly regrouped and turned his attention back to me. Leo, you still don't believe it, right? Look at what Sophia's wearing. That's couture. You couldn't afford that with a year's salary. This time, before he could finish, Sophia cut him off coldly. That's enough. My business with Leo has nothing to do with you. What do you mean it has nothing to do with me? I'm your fiancé. Our families arranged this years ago. Caleb protested desperately. I don't want to fight with you, Sophia said, her face like ice. She grabbed my hand, stood up, and holding her dress, quickly walked out of the room. She pulled me all the way to a waiting Rolls-Royce. Leo, you saw everything. I can't keep lying to you, Sophia said as soon as we were inside. It was clear she was ready to come clean. My eyes, however, were busy darting around the spacious interior of the car. Don't laugh, but this was my first time in Rolls. Are you even listening to me? Sophia snapped, noticing I was distracted. I immediately snapped back to reality and switched on my inner actor. Babe, I think I get it. You're not from a small town. Your family is rich, right? Sophia nodded slowly. Yes, I admit it. I lied to you about my family. But it's not what Caleb said. Our relationship was never just a game. My feelings for you are real, she said, her expression earnest and heartfelt. But a lie is a lie. There was no spinning that. Not that I cared. I was a pragmatist. My only concern was how much more I could get out of her. Okay, I forgive you, I said, before she even had a chance to ask. Then I added a condition. But from now on, no more lies. You have to tell me everything, straight up. Seeing that I wasn't angry, that I was being so magnanimous, Sophia visibly relaxed. She nodded repeatedly. Okay, I promise. I'll never lie to you again. At that moment, my eyes were once again roaming over her. Dressed in her couture gown, Sophia exuded an air of aristocratic grace and queenly authority. A sudden heat rushed through me. Seeing how spacious the back of the Rolls was, a wicked idea popped into my head. First, I had the driver take us to the waterfront. Then, I told him to get out. Why are we stopping here? Sophia asked, a faint blush on her cheeks. She had a good idea of what I was thinking. I grinned and lunged for her, inhaling her expensive perfume. Babe, you look too good tonight. I can't control myself. Come here. In here. Sophia hesitated, still a little reserved. Are you in or out? Under my burning gaze, she finally gave in. You're crazy, she chided. Fine, do what you want. She was pretending to be shy, but I knew she was probably hoping for this all along. After that, the Rolls-Royce turned into a love boat, rocking gently by the water, much to the astonishment of the bodyguards in the follow car. When we were done, as I was fixing my clothes, I ran my hand over the soft leather seat. Damn, the seats in this car are comfortable, I remarked. Hearing this, an idea seemed to spark in Sophia's mind. She smiled and said, If you like it, I'll buy you one tomorrow. Hehehe, she said it herself. I didn't have a knife to her throat. The next day, Sophia took me to a dealership. I picked out the car I'd always dreamed of. Naturally, Sophia paid for it. The nearly $400,000 price tag was a little out of my budget. Having successfully fleeced her again, I was on cloud nine. The feeling was indescribable. While I was enjoying my new life, Caleb was about to lose his mind. Seeing that the truth was out and I still hadn't broken up with Sophia, he completely lost his composure and cornered me in the parking garage. Oomph. I bet you've never driven a car this nice in your life, have you? He sneered, sidling up to me as I got out of my new car. The sarcasm was practically dripping from his voice. I ignored him, but he persisted. Sophia doesn't really love you. She's just using you to make me jealous. Otherwise, why would she pretend to be poor to trick you? Why haven't you left yet? Seeing him so hysterical, I couldn't help but retort, Caleb, if you really want to be with Sophia, you should be trying to win her over, not harassing me. If he actually had the guts to win her back fair and square, I'd be happy to step aside, preferably with a hefty breakup settlement. Sophia is my fiancée. Why do you have to be with her? You shameless homewrecker. Caleb yelled, completely losing it. He was clearly triggered and had resorted to baseless insults. He and Sophia didn't have a real engagement. It was just something their parents had talked about when they were kids. Besides, he was the one who had betrayed that so-called engagement by dating other girls. Like I said, if he was man enough, he'd go try to win Sophia back. Coming here to flex on me proved nothing. Caleb was still ranting. Then he brought my parents into it. Didn't your parents teach you that being a homewrecker is shameful? That line crossed a boundary. An idea sparked in my head, a classic line from a trashy reality TV show. You know, Caleb, haven't you ever heard the saying? The one who isn't loved, that's the other woman. It was the kind of line a villainess would deliver on one of those shows. The moment it left my mouth, Caleb's face turned a shade of purple. He looked like he was about to have a stroke. I, on the other hand, felt fantastic. Our confrontation in the parking garage turned into a fist fight. We both landed some good punches, and we both ended up in a hospital. Sophia rushed to see me as soon as she heard. I immediately wrapped my arms around her and played the victim. Babe, he started it. I was just defending myself. Caleb, who was standing right outside the door, heard me and stormed in, yelling, "You're lying. You threw the first punch. Sophia, look at my face." He busted my lip. He shoved his face towards Sophia, hoping for some sympathy. I glanced at him. The guy's melodrama was top-notch. So I burrowed deeper into Sophia's embrace and said defiantly, "Sophia, who are you going to believe, me or him? Don't forget, he's the one who cheated on you with another woman. I never have. I am completely devoted to you, and you know it." Bringing up his past betrayal in front of everyone was a checkmate move. As expected, the memory of her own pain flared up in Sophia. Her eyes hardened. "Caleb, get out," she snapped. "Sophia, you're protecting this homewrecker? I'm your fiancé." Caleb sputtered, trying to argue, but Sophia simply threw my own words back at him. "Leo is not the homewrecker. Remember this. The one who isn't loved, that's the other one. You. Caleb trembled with rage. He had lost his temper when I'd said it. To hear the same words from Sophia was a devastating blow. "Sophia Reed, you'll remember what you said today. You'll regret this," he snarled, then turned and stormed out, slamming the door behind him. After he left, Sophia turned to me, her voice serious. "From now on, I don't want to hear you say that line about the one who isn't loved ever again." She explained that she had pulled the security footage from the parking garage before coming to the hospital. She had seen the entire fight from start to finish. That's why she had used my line against Caleb. She knew it would be the most effective weapon. She gently chided me, then explained her reasoning. "That's a line for the other woman. You are not the other woman. With me, you are the only one." Whoa, from the sound of it, was my position as the millionaire's husband about to become permanent? And as it turned out, I was right. Once my injuries healed, Sophia took me to the Reed family estate to meet her parents and grandparents. I was nervous, expecting one of her parents to pull me aside, slide a $20 million check across the table, and tell me to get out of their daughter's life. But that check never came, not even when Sophia and I stood at the altar. Instead, what I got was 5% of the shares in Reed Industries. That was a net worth in the tens of millions. I'm a man of principle. When you take the patrons' money, you don't betray them. In fact, you give them all the emotional support they could ever ask for. And so, Sophia and I settled down and built a life together. We ended up having 2 kids, and just as I promised all that time ago, they both took the Reed family name. We lived a happy, prosperous life together, right into our old age. A marriage built on a foundation of lies had somehow turned out perfectly. As for Caleb Vance, after he stormed out of the hospital, I thought he would spend the rest of his life trying to get revenge. But as it turned out, on the very same day as our fight, before he even left the hospital, he was diagnosed with a rather nasty, incurable disease. His parents sent him abroad for treatment, but he didn't last more than a few years.